Okay, so you've seen the video. Obviously it was not my most eloquent best, but what you can't see on the video is what happened afterwards. Because unfortunately I covered the camera with the camera case on that last video, but you can hear that the young constable says to come and collect the keys from Footscray Police Station, I think it was. After which point in time, I just kept sitting in the car, waiting for them to go. They had my keys, and so I was under the impression that, I was just free to go and they were going to leave. Anyway, they kept hanging around, and after about 15 to 20 minutes, I was sitting in the car, just peacefully minding my own business, looking on the internet, on the phone, and the three of them decided to attack the vehicle and drag me out. So I had the sergeant at one door, the young constable with the dark hair went around to the passenger side, and I believe from memory, the other one, the taller one with the English accent, was also on the driver's side with the sergeant. And I tried to lock the doors, but I couldn't lock the doors and I couldn't record it. It all happened so quickly. So I dropped the phone and tried to lock the doors, but they got in and they dragged me out, at which time they pushed me up against the car and I said to them, "What do you think you're doing? What's this all for? What's this about?" And they said, "Stop resisting." And I said, "I'm not resisting." I said, if you want me to go into that van over there, because they had a brawler van that the two young constables were driving, and I said, if you want me to go into that brawler van for you, I said, you don't have to do this. And they kept saying, "Stop resisting." And they had my arms up. They had my arms twisted up my back. The young dark-haired constable at that point in time reached down and pulled my legs out from underneath me, and they basically jumped on my back and threw me face down into the gravel, at which point I could tell that the sergeant had put his foot on the back of my head and was pushing my face or my head into the gravel, and they kept saying, "Stop resisting."
Get off my head, man.
And I was just trying to keep my face out of the stones. The sergeant said to the young dark-haired guy, "Spray him, spray him, spray him." And he got down on his knees, the young dark-haired guy, and I looked him straight in the eyes, and I told him, I said, "Mate, don't do it, mate, don't do it." I said, "It's completely unnecessary." I said, "I'm not any trouble." And he unloaded, he sprayed me in the face directly, straight in my eyes at a really close range, and just absolutely saturated my face and the back of my neck in this stuff. And I can tell you, it's very uncomfortable. And then they handcuffed me. They'd already handcuffed me, actually. They'd already handcuffed me before they sprayed me. So then they picked me up and they dragged me into the back of the van, and it was very uncomfortable. And I was in the back of that brawler van for, I reckon, it was around about probably 15 minutes. It seemed like a lot longer. But my eyes were really hurting, and in the back of that very small confined space I was having a lot of trouble breathing. And I did manage to sort of look out a little bit. I could see that they were going through my car, but it was very hard to keep my eyes open. I couldn't really keep my eyes open. And eventually they got into the car and I asked them for some water. I said, my eyes are burning, can I have some water? And they laughed and said, "No, we don't have any water." And they drove off. I don't know I didn't know where we were going at that stage. I said to them, "Look, stop, I'll buy some water." I said, "I need some water." I said, "This is really burning." And they said, "No." So they took me into the police station there, and the sergeant thought it was a great game, pulling my arms up, pulling my handcuffed arms up, twisting my shoulders, and I still to this day actually have a problem with the left shoulder because of that. And then then the sergeant decided that it would be good to squeeze my neck, And I said to him, "What do you think you're doing? What are you doing that for?" And he said, "Because you might spit on me." I said, What do you think I'm going to do that? Is that what you deserve?" And then so they hosed me off. That was while they were hosing me off in the compound. They took me into a room. It was in the back of the police station, and they said, "Calm down." And I said, "Listen, I'm pretty angry. Of course I'm angry." I said, "Only an idiot wouldn't be angry after the way I've been treated." I said, "You've done nothing but use excessive violent force against a peaceful, unarmed man." I said, "Just because I'm angry doesn't mean to say that I'm going to act violently the same way that you people are." And eventually I said, because I said I wanted to wash my face in a basin. There was a basin nearby. Eventually they let me do that, and they asked me if I wanted an interview, and I said, "Bloody oath I want an interview." I said, "I want all this recorded on tape." I said, "Because you've acted unlawfully." I said, "I've done nothing wrong, and you've assaulted me, you've kidnapped me, and you've used chemical weapons against me." I said, "I didn't do anything wrong." And so then they interviewed me, at which point in time I gave them a bit of a dressing down. So I've still got that on record, that CD somewhere. That's what you don't see. I went into shock at some point while they were in the interview, and I started shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't stop myself shaking. They were pretty good at that point. They actually went and got a blanket and wrapped it around me. I think it was because of the cold water, because I was burning and I was freezing cold at the same time, and the clothes were wet. Anyway, the upshot of it was that after they'd finished interviewing me at that point, they gave me back my keys and dropped me off at my car, and I continued to travel home.